Well, hello, it's your friendly fishmonger, Dan from dansfish.com, and today I'm going to tell you about a pretty cool lamp-eye killifish. This one has bright orange eyes, some neat stripes on the body, some neat fin shapes and patterns and things. It's called Aplocheilichthys spilauchen. Now, Aplocheilichthys used to be the genus that all the African lamp-eyes were put into. What is now let's see here, Poropanchax and Congo Panchax and a bunch of the other ones used to all be called Aplocheilichthys. But over the last few decades, we've got a better understanding of this group of killifish, and we've figured out how they're related and stuff. So now, this one stayed Aplocheilichthys while most of the other ones changed and got their own genuses. But anyway, let's take a look at these guys, and I'll tell you all about them. So here are the little guys, bright orange eyes. Now I'm going to take this video at several kind of different angles as we go through, and my hope is that I can finally get an angle where the orange eyes glow correctly. It's hard to pick up on camera, but as with any lamp-eye killifish, that's kind of the main feature you first notice about them. And these guys, it's orange. It's like this glowing pumpkin, which is pretty cool. Now these fish get a little larger than a lot of the lamp-eyes. These guys, some of them are about 2 inches, maybe even slightly over that. So we're talking the size of maybe like a platy or something like that. And they're a very gregarious, friendly, but very hardy fish. I don't know if I've lost a single one in the entire import process, shipping and getting them acclimated and all that. So really hardy fish as far as I can tell. Now, they, like I said, they're gregarious. They're perfect for a community aquarium. Now, this is a species that does not want to be alone. Most killifish are just fine alone, but these guys, you really kind of do want a group. They do have a shoaling behavior more or less. They, I think, feel more comfortable when they see other orange eyes glowing around them. And that's the feature that allows them to kind of contact each other in the murky water where they sometimes live. If there's tannins in the water, or if the stream got stirred up in a flood, or what have you. So they do use that to stay in contact and kind of communicate and find each other. So they do like being around others of their own kind. They'll eat absolutely anything that will fit in their mouth. Flakes, right now I have some pellets in there I just dropped in so you could see that. I had flakes in earlier, I don't know if you saw that, but kind of far in the distance by the mop there was some flake food that they were eating. And they'll just eat really well, super easy, almost like a domesticated fish that was raised on this stuff. They also, of course, appreciate frozen and live foods, which I give them frequently, just as a supplement and a treat. Temperature that I keep these guys at is, mid 70s is where they're at right now, and they're doing just fine. I know it gets a little warmer than that where they come from sometimes, but so I think they would do fine up to around 80 or so. But mid 70s, they're perfectly comfortable for me. Oh, they're also eating rapashi, so I started dropping that in a couple days ago, and they went nuts for it. So yeah, super simple fish. Their favorite, of course, is fruit flies. I mean, that's what they really love. But they'll eat everything else with vigor too. So easy fish to take care of. Now, temperament on these guys, how would I describe it? It's almost like a platy, but even more peaceful. Maybe like a guppy, but without the male going and harassing everybody and trying to breed with them. So I would say they're like a live bearer without the overblown sex drive that a lot of those male live bearers have, where they can go and harass the other fish and try to breed with them, even if they're a completely different family of fish. So kind of that nice female guppy temperament, maybe, more or less, is probably the way to describe it. Now, they kind of tend to stay mid-water to surface. I wouldn't call them a true surface fish, but as you can see from their body shape, kind of that flat head on top, that's always indicative of, not always, that's generally indicative of a species that likes to be close to the surface, so they can they've developed that so they can kind of skim across the surface and look for things to eat. These guys are kind of up at the top in top quarter of the tank, so they're either right up at the surface or a few inches below. Although they have no problem exploring down, you'll see them at all levels, but generally they're at the top. So how many times can I say surface? I don't know, we'll find out. How many times in one video? In fact, in one of my other videos, the Aplocheilichthys video, when I got a comment that said that one of the viewers had turned it into a drinking game, and every time I said surface, they took a drink. So here we go. Surface, 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 surface. Have fun in the morning, buddy. Anyway, I've got these in a super simple setup. It's a bare bottom aquarium, nothing fancy. I generally keep a little water sprite on the top, half to top third of the tank, as you can see back there, and some Java moss on the bottom when I have enough. This also has some Java fern over to the right, just because some clung on to the airline a year ago and never let go and kind of just grew into place there. But the general theme for these lamp eyes and for killifish overall that I'm keeping is, there's so many different kinds of killifish that there is no generality, but for the kinds that I'm keeping right now is have a place where there's good cover and then have most of the tank open swimming area. So kind of like your standard planted tank or decorated tank, what have you. And if you do that, then they'll always know that if they're in trouble, they can run over to the cover and be fine. And so they're comfortable enough to come out and not hide in the cover. And that's how you get nice, active killifish in your aquarium, where they display and they're not shy and they don't just dart away every time you walk past the tank. So a group and some cover in the tank with plenty of open area where they can swim out and observe makes for a really, really nice killifish aquarium. I have not bred these guys yet. I do have a mop in there, and I did, out of curiosity, check it about a week ago. I haven't checked it since. I've only had these guys for, I think, 15 days now, and all my energy has been in kind of, getting everyone acclimated and making sure everyone's healthy and all that. Although this species was super easy. There was almost no work involved. Like, they never demonstrated more than slight stress, like the first few hours after they were put in the tank. They were ready to eat, like, right away. Super hardy, super great fish. They're doing great with the swordtails I have in there, and I think they'd be a wonderful addition to any community tank. Of course, size appropriate. They're pretty quick to the food, so I don't think they're like a wild type betta or something like that could get out-competed if you have other kind of boisterous fish in the tank. I think these guys would pretty much do fine. They're right on it. Yeah, so I think that's probably covers them. Let me just think if there's anything. Oh, here's the other thing. Now, I want to put in a caveat here. I am not recommending, okay, that you keep these fish without a lid on the tank. Because the moment I do that, they'll jump and you'll hate me forever. So I'm not recommending that. But I will say that as I forgot the lid on this tank overnight once, and no one jumped out. So I just left the lid open, like pretty much half of the tank was open, for 3 days, just to see if that was a fluke or not. Not a single fish jumped. Now, most killifish will jump, but these lamp eyes and lamp eyes in general, I haven't seen jumping a lot. Just like Florida flagfish, they're a killifish, but I've never had one jump, and I never worry about a lid on their tanks. I never worry about closing it. I have one on for evaporation and stuff, but they're not jumpers is the point. So, in general, killifish, you want a sealed lid, like a really tight lid with no gaps. But if you were going to try some killifish in a rimless tank or a tank without a lid, these and the other lamp eye species are what I would say are your safest bet. Again, I'm not going to say that it couldn't happen or you wouldn't have problems, but hey, I've had platies and swordtails and barbs jump out of tanks, right? So, it's always a risk. But I just want to put that out there, that this is not one of the species that, in my experience so far, 15 days, right, with this fish, not extensive experience by any means, but I haven't had any problems with them being jumpers. And that's something else I guess I should say, is that I've only had them for 15 days, but I've researched them for years. This is a species I've been looking for about 25 years now. And finally just had to bring it in because I could never find it. So happy to have them, and I'm not disappointed. In the past, I've tried to order them a couple times and I always got rice fish, which they look similar in some ways, I suppose, superficially to a rice fish, so I can see why that happened. But rice fish are from Asia, these guys are from Nigeria, so it's not something that I expected. Anyhow, yeah, that's it. Hope you liked it. Let's go to the outro. Alright, so there they are, Aplocheilichthys spilauchen with their little glowing orange eyes. If you lasted this long, then you probably thought this video was okay, and then maybe you could subscribe or like or share or any of that stuff, so you're always invited to do so, right? I think, yeah, we pretty much covered it, so leave a comment below if you want to geek out with me on this fish, or if you have a question about it, or just something to say. And until next time, have a good one. Bye-bye.